Welcome to this session on Hastamalak Stotra. We start with the gratitude towards the Lord, with whose grace this is possible, and the Guru Parampara through which this knowledge has been preserved and passed on through generations. I pay my respects to my Guruji, Pujya Guruma, with whose grace I am able to learn, understand and share these scriptures with you. And I am still a learner on this path. We start with a prayer. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So Hastamalak Stotra is a very beautiful, small, concise granth of Vedanta, comprising of only 14 shlokas. Was created by Adi Shankaracharya ji. Some say that Hastamalakacharya himself created this grantha, but Hastamalakacharya was the youngest disciple of Adi Shankara. You must have seen his photograph where he is always, Adi Shankara is surrounded by his 4 disciples, out of which the youngest one is the Hastamalakacharya. The other 3 are Padmacharya ji, Sureshwaracharya ji and Totakacharya ji. Now Hasta Amalak, when we separate the Sandhi, it means Hasta means heart, the hands, and Amalak means Amala. Amala is a kind of a berry, an Indian kind of a fruit, which is very clear, and that's why it is said that Hastamalaka had a very clear sense of the knowledge, and that's why this stotra is also very important, because it very clearly shows us the distinction between what is the reality and what is not. And this in very beautiful, simple examples, very simple examples that we live in our daily life. That kind of understanding, Adi Shankara is trying to explain us the complex phenomenon principles of Vedanta and trying to take us towards the ultimate goal of our human life, human existence, that is to be one with the divine. But this goal of Vedanta looks quite difficult to achieve. How can we see oneness when we see so many differences? And a lot of times we don't understand the goal clearly. What is moksha? What is mukti? And we go after our desires. We go after temporary sukha, shanti. But what all of us desire, yearn, utmost from inside is nitya sukha and nitya shanti. That means we want everlasting happiness, we want everlasting peace, and this is for which we are all in various different activities. And that itself is mukti, that itself is moksha, that itself is attaining the divinity, that itself is the goal of human life. So this clarity gradually comes with the help of Shraddha and learning abhyasa of the Shastras, with the help of a learned Guru who has learned this, how to express the words through the Guru Parampara, and of course the Shishya, his own efforts, his or her own efforts, his sadhana is also very important. The story of Hastamalaka goes as he was a dumb child. As he was a child, he was not speaking anything at home, so his parents were naturally very upset that why he doesn't talk, and they heard that this Guru Adi Shankara had come to his town while he was on his tour of India, and this was a place near the Maharashtra-Karnataka border where his parents, Hastamalaka's parents, who were Brahmins, they went to Acharya Adi Shankara and told him that this boy is not speaking right from his birth. So why don't you do some miracle and make him speak? So Adi Shankara, he asked him a few questions, and that is the first shloka of this small grantha. And after listening to these 4 or 5 questions, suddenly Hastamalaka starts talking, and it is realized that not only he's dumb, he's not speaking, but he is actually enlightened, he's wise, and the way he answers to the questions which were put forth, which are very basic questions of our human life, of our existence, and the way he describes and answers them is miraculous. So it's a very beautiful story and a very beautiful grantha. Let us start with the first shloka. Shankara Uvacha Kastvam Shisho Kasya Kutosi Ganta Kim Nam Te Tvam Kuta Agatosi Etanmayoktam Vadacharvakatvam Mat Pritaye Priti Vivardhanosi. So in this first shloka, Shankara asks the wise child Hastamalaka. Of course, his name was not Hastamalaka at that time, but later on, Shankara gave him this name Hastamalaka when he was adopted as a disciple of Shankaraji. He says, Katvam, who are you? That is the first question he asks. Kasya Shishuhu, whose child are you? Kuta Asiganta, where are you going? Kim Namate, what is your name? And finally he says, Tvam Kuta Agatasi, where are you coming from? So these are some of the very fundamental questions of our life. Of course, if we use this in our day-to-day existence, the answers may be quite simple. My name is this and that. I am going towards my home. I am coming from my office, and my parents' name are this and that. So this could be the answers. But if you see the way Hastamalaka answers these questions, that is quite different. He says, "Oh child, Arbaka, please tell me answers to all these that I have asked, because mat pritaye priti vivardhanosi, because my love for you is increasing." There was a lot of compassion in the eyes of Shankara when he saw this child, and that's why with this love he asked this child that what are all these questions? Who are you? What is your name? Where are you going? Where are you coming from? And whose child are you? So with this, Hastamalaka starts speaking, and he says, Naham manushyo na cha deva yakshau na brahmana kshatriya vaishya shudraha na brahmachari na gruhi vanastho bhikshur na chaham nija bodha rupaha. So Hastamalaka says, Na aham manushya, I am not a human being, I am not this body that you are seeing, or somebody is seeing. Na deva yakshaha, neither a devta nor a yaksha. So all these are the dharma or guna of the body. Different bodies, different people have different bodies. And based on our body, we are also divided into 4 varnas. So he says, I am neither brahmana, na kshatriya, na vaishya, na shudra. I am neither of these, because these are all dharma of the body. And neither I am the 4 ashramas which were described in our Vedic parampara, na brahmachari, na gruhi, na vanastho. I am neither a brahmachari, a young ascetic unmarried, neither a householder nor a vanprastha living in the forest. Neither I am a bhikshu, neither I am a sannyasi, he says. So I am not a mendicant. That means that I am neither of one of these 4 ashramas. I don't belong to this. But I am Nija Bodha Rupa. I am the form of true knowledge. That is what I am. So finally, this is the prakriya of the Vedanta. Initially, it neti. It says what I am not, because it's very difficult to identify who am I, and that's why it just reduces everything. What I am not, neti adhyasa, and finally it will say what am I or who am I. So this is how Hastamalaka also answers, that I am not this body, but I am the form of true knowledge, Nija Bodha Rupa, that is my true self, he says. Third shloka, Nimittam manaschakshuradi pravruttau nirasthakhilopādhirakāshakalpaha ravirloka-cheshthā nimittam yathayaha sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma. So he again goes ahead and says, who am I? He says, I am nimitta for my chakshu, mana chakshu adi pravrutti. That means I am the real cause for all the activities of my mind and the senses. Chakshu Adi, Chakshu is one of the Jnanendriyas. So Chakshu Adi means Chakshu and a lot of other Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas. All these are involved in some or the other kind of activities, either to get some knowledge or to do some activities or actions. Karmendriya, they do actions. Mana, they register all this. And all these work, they are all jada in our, according to our Vedanta, but all these get its pravrutti or its activity or its chetana from the Atma, that is Chaitanya. So that is what is the understanding that we need to have, that I am also not this mana, I am not this Indriya, I am not neither the Jnanendriya nor the Karmendriyas, but I am the one who, through which or because of which these Indriyas, this mana are able to do their function. So that is the Chetana Tattva, that is what I am. So that is what he says here. He says, Nirasta Akhila Upadhi Akasha Kalpaha. So I am devoid of all activities. Even in Gita ji, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says that our Swarupa is a Karta, though I am in the activities, but still the Swarupa is a Karta, that is devoid of any Upadhi, devoid of any Karta, and it is like a Akash. That is the simile that he gives, remains Asanga, remains outside. Just like Akasha is not actually sky, but it also means space in Vedanta, because it is it's a very vast expanse that covers us, envelops us. So that is one of the similes that is given to the Atma or the Tattva, which is also all pervading. It is very vast, cannot be fathomed also by the human senses or the human mind. So that is what I am. And then he gives a simile, Yathaya Ravir Loka Cheshta Nimittam. That means just as the sun is instrumental, Ravi means the sun is instrumental cause for Loka Cheshta, for the activities of the people. So because when the day happens in the morning, sun rises, everybody wakes up, gets into activity mode, starts their work. And that's why, just as the sun is instrumental in all the causes or the activities of people, similarly, I am instrumental for the working of all the mana, chakshu and other indriyas, and also the karma indriyas. Sanitya Upalabdhi Swarupo Hamatma. So I am the Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa, Aham Atma. So I am that Atman which is Nitya Upalabdhi. Nitya means eternal, Upalabdhi means knowledge, the Jnana Swarupa. So I am that Nitya or Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa or Jnana Swarupa, the eternal light of knowledge. So that is what I am. And this is the line that is going to be repeated throughout in all the shlokas of Hastamalaka. The last line, Sanityo Palabdhi Swarupo Hamatma. So he says, I am what I am, and finally he says, I am the eternal light of knowledge, because I am the eternal Jnana Swarupa. Now all the Jnana that we register in our mind, our intellect, in our worldly activities, in our Vyavahara and in our day-to-day life, that is called the Vishaya Jnana, the knowledge of the objects. Say for example, suppose if I say this is the remote of a TV, then this understanding that this is a remote, my mind has to register, and that object knowledge is done through the Vritti, where the Vritti in the Antakarana, it goes to that object, and then it, the Vritti has two parts. One is the Jada part of the Vritti, which envelops, creates, and then there is a Chetan part of the Vritti, which actually creates the Jnana. So this Vritti Jnana, this Jnana is called the Vritti Jnana, which is Anitya, because the moment the object is not there, the Vritti Jnana also does not happen, and that's why this Jnana is Anitya. Whereas my own Swarupa, my own nature, or my own, the real essence, which is Atma or Brahma, is Jnana Swarupa, and this is Nitya. This is always there, because it is, it does not have a beginning, neither it has an end, and that's why it is always Nitya. Yamagnoshnava Nitya Bodha Swarupam Manaschakshuradinya Bodhatmakani Pravartanta Ashritya Nishkampamekam Sanityopalabdhi Swarupohamatma. So here it describes with the fire, that fire as Agni, has a Ushna Swarupa. Agni's Swarupa is own Swarupa is hot. It is always hot. That's the innate tendency of fire. Similarly, Atma is also Nitya. It is always Drashta. It is always Nitya. And it is a Nitya Gnana Swarupa, because all the Gnan happens through this Chaitanya or Atma Swarupa. And it is the eternal Drashta, means it is a seer of all the knowledge. That's why it does not become part of the vision. It is never seen, because it is the seer, so the seer can never be seen. Manaschakshuradi pravartant ashritya, because this is the Atman to which Mana, Chakshu, Adi, all the Indriyas, Mana, everything, they become ashritya for their pravartata. Means for their activities, they have to submit themselves, they have to surrender themselves for all their actions, activities, and for their work to the Atma. And that's why Atma and Chaitanya is the Adhisthana. It is the force or the energy through which all these will work. And it is the Adhyastha. So, Mana, Chakshu, Indriya, all the other Indriyas are Adhyastha. Adhyastha means they get all the power and energy from the Atma or the Tattva. So, that is how there is a difference between the Adhisthana, Adhyastha, that relationship we need to understand. And this Tattva is Ekam Nishkampan. Nishkampan means there is no change, there is no movement, there is no Kriya, there is no activity, it is one, it is changeless, it is very steady, there is no vikara, there is no destruction, there is no change. So this is a nishkampan. That is what the tattva or this Atma tattva is. Sanityopalabdhi swarupo hamatma. So I am that Atman which is the eternal light of knowledge, which is the everlasting, which is the eternal, which is never dies, and all the activities, all the work is done through this force of the Atma or the energy. Manaschakshurader viyuktasya. Very good. Yeah, Manaschakshurader viyuktah swayam yo. Manaschakshurader manaschakshuradihi. Manaschakshurader gamya swarupah. Sanityopalabdhi swarupo hamatma. So in this shloka, he says, Manas Chakshu Adi Vyukta Swayamyo. So though in the previous shloka he says that it's because of me that Manas Chakshu Adi everything works. But here he says that even though it works because of me, but I'm completely different from the Mana, Chakshu Adi, all the Indriyas. I am totally different. I am Vilakshana, I am Sakshi, I am the observer, I am the awareness. I am completely separate. I have no connection with any of these Mana, Chakshu or any of these Indriyas, whether it is Jnanendriyas or the Karmendriyas. So I am completely Vyukta, I am completely separate. Manas Chakshu Adai, Manas Chakshu Adi. So I am the mind of the mind. I am the Ade of Mana. Mana ka Ade means I am the mind of the mind, I am the eyes of the eyes. Means it is because of me that the mind is able to perceive everything. It is because of me that the eyes are able to see everything. So it is that Tattva is the Adi of everything. And that's what our Upanishads tell us, that's why we cannot see it. That Tattva is unmanifest. It cannot be seen because it is through which the eyes can see. So we cannot see the seer. That's why the distinction between I and me, as we use in our routine day-to-day work, is very important. When I say I am this and this is my body, when I say then I and my is different. Then my body is not I. So that's why when I say this is my mind, these are my thoughts, then obviously I am different from my thoughts and I am different from my mind, I am different from my intellect. This is my knowledge, this is something I don't know, or this is something that is not presently understood by me. When I say this, it means that I am different from my gnana, from my agnana, from all these I am separate. And that's why this distinction also is very important. Manaschakshuradi agamya swarupaha. And this is what cannot be agamya. It cannot be approached, it cannot be understood by the mind and the eyes, because it is agamya swarupa. The swarupa is agamya. Sanityopalabdhi swarupo hamatma. So I am that eternal light of knowledge, that nitya upalabdhi swarupa atma, which is the seer, which is the mind of the mind, the eyes of the eyes, and everything. And that's why I'm not able to see that. So Mana Chakshu Adi Agamya Swarupa means that which cannot be approached or understood by the mind. But this is the only capacity that we have, the mind and our intellect, through which in our lifetime or in some other lifetime we can understand this tattva. So that is to be known by the mind. And Upanishads say that it cannot be approached or understood by the mind. So what is this contradiction? And sometimes we see many of these contradictions in our scriptures, but only a learned guru can make us understand how we can perceive this and understand this. So here there are two main differences that Guruji has told us. One is the purity of the mind, which is very important. So this can only be understood by the mind, which is a pure mind. And this impure mind, the Ashuddha man, cannot understand this tattva. But only a pure mind, a mind which is Shuddha, which is Sattvika, can only understand this tattva. That's why the majority of the sadhana, the initial part of the sadhana for years together or sometimes few lives, we have to, just work for the Shuddhi of our Antakarana, our mind, because we all have a lot of other, unhealthy desires, which we have to realize, understand, and gradually then through understanding of our scriptures, what it is trying to tell us, we have to get through this. The meaning of the words is another reason that it's very important to understand that there is something called a Vachyartha. It's a literal meaning of the word. So when we say the word either Jiva or Ishvara, so there is some Vachyartha, means the meaning that comes up suddenly in the mind immediately after the word is spoken, it is called Vachyartha. And this oneness or this knowledge cannot be understood by this literal meaning of the Vachyartha. And that's why the Guru will take us from Vachyartha to another Lakshit meaning or intended meaning or a goal, which is it is called Lakshyartha. So that Lakshit meaning, which is the intended meaning, or which is that only a Guru will take us and try to explain how there is a sameness or samyata, the sameness between Jiva and Ishvara. How is it possible? Through which, what is it possible? What are the layers that we have to shed before we understand this? So with this understanding, only we can understand this tattva. It cannot be understood by a Shuddha man. It can only be understood by the Shuddha or the pure mind. It cannot be understood by Vachyartha. If we just understand Vachyartha, most of the times we understand only Vachyartha, but we have to go from Vachyartha to Lakshyartha, and that is where our Guru and Shastra will help us to go towards Lakshyartha. 6th shloka. Mukhabhasako darpane drashyamano mukhatvat pruthaktvena naivasti vastu Chidabhasako dhishu jivopi tadvata sanityopalabdhi swarupo hamatma. So in this shloka, we are made to understand that the reflected image of the face that we see in the mirror, Mukhabhasako darpane drashyamana. Mukhatvat pruthakttvena naivasti vastu. It is not different. It does not have a different existence or separate. It is not separate from the main face itself. So the reflection and the face are essentially one and the same. That is what it is trying to tell us. Tadvat chitta abhasa dishu jiva api. Chitta abhasako. Similarly, the reflected consciousness that is reflected, this Atma Tattva that is reflected through our own Antakarana, inner self, and we understand that we are the being or we are the life or we are the energy. And this reflection is not separate from the universal existence, universal consciousness, that is the Bimbha Bhuta Chaitanya, that is the Brahma Chaitanya. So what we understand as our own self, as a jiva, as a limited person, but we are the same as the universal consciousness. So jiva and Brahma are the same. That is what the shloka is trying to tell us. Sanityopalabdhi swarupo hamatma. So I am that Bimbha Bhuta Chaitanya. I am not just the Pratibimba. I am not just the reflection of the image, but I am the Bimbha Bhuta Chaitanya, which is the eternal life of knowledge. And this brings to our basic question: am I the reflection? Because the reflection and the mirror image. The main image and the mirror image will be essentially be the same, because if the mirror is clean, the same image will be seen here. And that's why we may feel that I am the reflection, but actually I may be the, it's very difficult sometimes to know what is the mirror and what is the reflection. And that's why this shloka tells us that the main image and the reflection are essentially the same. So I am essentially the Bimba Bhuta Chaitanya, whose satta is through which everything works. All the manas, chakshu, indriya, everything works through this. And there are different forms of our understanding. We don't understand this primarily because most of us are more conscious about our body, and this consciousness about our body is called Dehatma Bhav. And here there is no thought has gone beyond. Nobody has given us sermons or make us understood that I am not this body, but I have just understood because of my past sanskaras, and this in our Vedanta it is called Avichar Siddha. So because there is no thought given to it, whether really whatever I am believing or understanding is true or not, I have never thought about it. The second is what is called as a Jiva Bhava or a Jiva consciousness. Many of us understand that yes, I am not just my body, but I am beyond my body. I am my mind, I am my my soul, my energy. Everything is different from the body, because we feel that at the end of the life, body just passes away. We have seen some people who pass away and their body stops working and their life comes to an end, but the body is still there. So obviously we sometimes think that okay, I am not my body, but I am something beyond my body. I am probably my mind, soul, and all of these together. So this is what we believe as a Sangha Jiva, means a Samuha or a group of all this: mind, body, intellect, prana and soul, all this. And this, according to Vedanta, is also little thought has been given to this, and it is Alpa Vichara Siddha. But when there is a full, complete thought given, Purna Vichar, and Vedanta, what it is telling us, we have realized this as a final understanding, which is the reality that I am part of the universal consciousness, and this is called the Brahma Bhava. So this understanding is the final goal for us, and for this we need a mind which is pure, which is still, which is focused, and with the help of Shastra, Guru, who can show us the way, and then of course the sadhana that we have to do. Finally, we have to go for the Gnana sadhana after Antakarana Shuddhi in the form of Shravana, which is Vedanta Vakya from Guru's mouth. Manana, that is the Tarka, and a lot of logic goes around to clear all the doubts, all the sanchayas have to be cleared. And finally Nididhyasana, that is the meditation, Abhyasa, because all the Viparyaya, all the Viparit sanskaras, the opposite sanskaras that have been inscribed into me from ages or lives immemorial have to be changed, so that finally I can see the oneness everywhere. And this will come with initially Brahma Bhav and then Brahmakara Vritti. Essentially this Vritti also is Anitya, because it will come up and it will go, but then finally it will lead us to the Brahma Jnana, which is Nitya, which is my Gnana Swarupa, that is my Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa, that I am itself. So I need to know that. That is more important. Just Brahma is there, that does not help us. The Gnata Brahma, to know that I am the universal consciousness, I am the knowledge, I am this Brahma, that is what gives us the fruits of this sadhana, that is the mukti and the moksha. Yatha darpana bhava abhasahano mukham vidyate kalpana hinamekam tatha dhiviyoge nirabhasako yaha sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma. So, Yatha Darpana Abhava Abhasahano means just as a reflected image vanishes in the absence of mirror. Initially says the mirror and the reflected image are the same, the main image and the reflect. Now it says if the mirror is absent, the reflected image vanishes, is not seen naturally. But Mukham Vidyate Kalpana Hinamekam, the original face exists without any reflection. So that does not change. That similarly, he says Tatha Dhi Viyoge. Dhi Viyoge means Dhi means Antakarana. Dhi basically means intellect, Buddhi. But here it is taken as a sense of all the Antakarana, Mana, Buddhi, everything. Nirabhasako. In the absence of mind and intellect, only the awareness remains. Sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma. So that is what I am, the eternal light of knowledge. So tatha viyoge, absence of mind, intellect, antakarana. So that only awareness remains. So how can we understand that? So there are two stages or places in our life that we can understand this. One is in the deep sleep, Shushupti. That is our daily experience. Here the body is sleeping, the mind also dissolves completely. There are no dreams, mind is not working, intellect is not working, the senses are not working, all the antakara, indriya, everybody has gone to sleep. But there is somebody who is awake, because when we wake up, we have that experience that I had a wonderful sleep. I was very happy, I had a nice sleep. That experience somebody has had. That is what I am. Because in my Sushupti, I am closest to my own self. And that's why this self is a Drashta, it is a Sakshi, it is the Nitya Tattva which never sleeps. When all this everything goes to sleep, even then I never sleep, and that is my real self. After the second time when we can understand this is after death of a wise person or an enlightened person. When his body comes to an end, this person gets Videha Mukti, means that the Sthula Sharira of course dissolves here, the Sukshma Sharira that dissolves in the universal consciousness, and that's why there is no birth for them. So this is called Videha Mukti, and that is where we can understand there is Diviyoge. Ya eko vibhati svata shuddha chetaha prakasha swarupopi nanevadhishu Sharabodakastho yatha bhanurekaha Sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma. This is eko svata shuddha cheta prakasha swarupa. So that one which is the tattva, which is a pure consciousness, Shuddha Cheta, and it is a Swaprakasha Swarupa, it is self-illuminating, does not require the help of anybody else to, Prakasha or to get the knowledge. It is self-illuminating. Api Dhishu Nana Eva Vibhati, but it appears as many in different bodies manifested by different intellects or by different Antakarana, our inner self. Because of these differences, Antakarana differences, it appears as many, but it is a one. But how this appears as many? And he gives an example, just as sun is one, but when the reflection of the sun occurs in different pots of vessels of water which is placed, you will see many reflections. So though sun is one, reflections can be many because the medium are many. That's why this is the example trying to explain to us that how that one tattva looks like many different beings in our day-to-day life, just by this understanding. So let us understand this a little bit more, that one sun, when it is reflected in different vessels, based on that nama rupa, that the form and the shape of that vessel, we will see that there is a reflection or image of the sun, multiple images of the sun will be happening, and that's the kind of the universal consciousness reflecting as individual limited consciousness. So one tattva appears as many, that is what this shloka tells us. Yatha surya eko prasvanekaschalasu stira swapnananya dvibhavya swarupaha chalasu prabhinna sudishveka eva sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma. Here it says, just like a single sun in unsteady water, apsu, chalasu. Apsu means water, chalasu means which is moving, unsteady. A single sun, Eka Surya, but it appears Aneka, and that's how does this happen? Stirasu Ananya Vibhavya Swarupan, reflected in a steady water, sthira water. Stirasu, it appears, steady, single. So depend on the medium, how the reflection happens, whether it is steady or whether it is moving, that depends on the medium. Chalasu prabhinna sudishu eka, to the unsteady intellect, one soul appears to be many, similarly in such a way, because the intellects are many, and that's why with this unsteady mind, everything happens very, it appears very different. So the reflection, whether it is clear, whether it is steady, whether it is moving, It will depend on the medium. The medium is very clear. The reflection will be clear. Like in a wise person, everything reflects very clearly. Their knowledge is also very clear. But people who don't have a lot of ashuddhi, impurities, we don't see everything. That's why we see a lot of differences in this world. We see a lot of differences, and from these differences we have to go more towards ekatva and oneness, to see oneness amongst all the differences. So how this Atma, which is one, appears as many, that is the basic principle of Vedanta, that Atma is one. But our own experience is that every day we see many differences. Everybody, this person is like this person is like this. We keep differentiating everything. That is how we work. Our world and our dunya also works like this. There are several prakriyas, processes which have been described in Vedanta to understand this, how our experience does not match with what Vedanta tells us. And there are many vada prakarana or vada prakriya which have been described. The first and the commonest is the bimba pratibimba vada. We have already seen how in the previous shloka it was shown that the sun with its multiple reflections appears as many, but though the bimba bhuta, the original sun is just one, but because of the reflection in many pots or many vessels, because of the medium, you see many reflections or realities. But actually the reality is only one. So according to this vada, the bimba bhuta is the Brahma Chaitanya or the universal consciousness, the Atma, which is the one reality. But when it is reflected in the Maya, which is a Pratibimbit Chaitanya along with Maya, with Pratibimbit it is called Ishvara. But even then this is a one reflection, that's why Ishvara is also one. But Antakarana, there are many Antakarana, there are many Avidya, and here when the reflection happens on these individual different jivas, different Antakarana, so that Chaitanya, reflected Chaitanya is called the Jiva, and that appears as many. So that is what is the difference in this Bimba Pratibimba Vada. In the Abhasa Vada, Brahma, which is all pervading, whereas when you compare it with the sun, it is only present at one place. So that is not perfect simile of Brahma, because Brahma is all pervading, and that's why, and it is unmanifest. Sun is essentially seen, whereas the sky or the space is essentially unmanifest. Brahma is unmanifest, it cannot be seen. And that's why the reflection of this sky or the space is called Chidabhas, Chit Abhas. And that's why the example of the sky or Akash is given in Abhasavada. And the reflection here is not called Bimba Pratibimba, but it is called Chidabhasa. So here Adhisthana is also taken along with the Abhasa or the reflection. That's why Sa Adhisthana, Sa Abhasa, Maya is called Ishvara in Abhasavada. And Sa Adhisthana, Sa Abhasa, Antakarana is called Jiva, because when the end stage of the life or the death happens, the reflection goes away, the Antakarana is also no more there. But if Adhisthana is not there, then nothing remains of the Jiv. But here Adhisthana is always remains, because Adhisthana is always Nitya. The third type of Vada is called the Avachcheda Vada, which is called limited, which is described as Visheshana or Upadhi, whether it is Avachinna or Upahita Chaitanya. Visheshana and Upadhi, these are how the differences happen. Visheshana means basically they create differences. This is how we create differences amongst objects. Visheshana, it goes inside the object to create the differences, whereas in Upadhi, it remains outside the object to create the differences. And that's why in Avachcheda Vada, whatever is Upahita or Upadhi, it is unlimited, because it is outside that Upadhi. But our Guruji says you can take help of any of these prakriyas. It is not that one is better than the other or the second is better than the third, but you could take anything, because ultimately the goal is Aikya Jnana. From Vachyartha we have to go and understand the Lakshyartha, and if we do this, then we can take help of any of these prakriyas. Yatha neka chakshu prakasho ravirna kramena prakashi karoti prakashyam aneka dhiyo yastathaika prabodha sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma. So here again the example of the sun, as it illuminates many eyes together. Aneka chakshu prakasha raviha na kramena prakasha karoti prakashyam, means it does not do kramena, does not do step by step, but does everything one at a time. Right? So this is how sun illuminates. When sun illuminates, everything is seen at a time. Similarly, aneka dhiyaha yastu eka prabodha. Similarly, I am that which illuminates everything at one point of time. It is not kramena, na kramena prakasha karoti. And that is what my real self, Sanityopalabdhi Swarupoham Atma. Because when the sunrise happens, everything gets illuminated immediately. Similarly, Tattva does not, it is Sarvagna, it is Sarva Shaktiman, it illuminates everything at every point of time. It does not do it Kramena, it does not do it step by step, but it is Sarvagna, it is all powerful, all knowledge, all at one point of time. Vivasvat prabhatam yatha rupamaksham pragrunati nabhatamevam vivasvan yada bhata abhasayatyakshamekah sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma. So just like what is illuminated by the sun becomes visible to our eyes, because in the darkness we can't see anything, but we can see only when there is sunlight. One may say that I can see in the night time with the light, but that light also is part of the light. So essentially only with the light we are able to see. Similarly, that which is not illuminated by the sun, we cannot see. But here I am the truth which illuminates the sun, because everything in this world, the sun, the moon, all the planets, all the galaxies, everything is illuminated by this Tattva, because that is what is the driving force of this universe. Sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma. So the question is that we generally are more obsessed with the name and the forms that we see, and our mind does not go towards the adhisthana or the foundation or the tattva behind it. Similarly, say for example, when we go to see a movie, we see all the pictures, all the happenings, but we never see the screen. Whereas all the fire that happens on the screen, but the screen does not get burned, because the fire is it's an illusion that is created on the screen. Similarly, according to our Vedanta, this screen is the adhisthana on which the movie that we see is that of this world that we see every day, and we should see that as a movie. Because the question whether the fire is due to the light or whether the light is due to the fire remains to be answered, because when you see fire on the screen, some may say yes, because of the fire there is a lot of light. That is one way of looking at it. But if you see, the fire itself is seen because of the light of the projection. The projection light itself, if there is electricity failure, then the fire also will not be there. So there won't be any light anywhere in the audience. So that's why the light behind the fire. So similarly, the light or the fire or the energy behind the sun is also the tattva. We may see that the sun is giving the light, but actually the light behind the sun or the light of the sun is through this tattva, through this atma. That is how we can understand this by this example. Samasteshu vastushnu syutamekam samastani vastuni yanna sprushanti vyadvat sada suddhamachha swarupam sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma. Samasteshu vastushvanu sutamekam samastani vastuni yanna sprushanti vyadvat sada shuddhamachha swarupam sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma. So here Stamalaka says that samastu vastushu anusyutamekam, that I am the one who pervades everything, all the objects in this world. It works because of the satta of this tattva, this atma tattva. Samastani vastuni yamna spushanti. But even though it is this tattva that everything works through this, but there is no contact or there is no sangha, there is no it cannot be touched. This does not touch any of these objects. It remains asanga, it remains separate from all these objects. Vyadvat sada shuddhamachha swarupam. It is like the ever immaculate, pure and the clean nature of the sky. So the nature of this tattva is like very shuddha, it is acha, swachha, and that is the swachha swarupa, which is the sada sattva, because it is the pious and the most pious tattva. Sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma, and that Atman, which is the eternal light of the knowledge. So Vastu itself means Brahma. Vastu, we understand in our routine word, is like an object. But actually behind all these objects, there is the tattva which makes each, the life behind it, the Sat Chit and the Ananda. So how can we understand this, that within all objects, where everything there is this tattva, how is it possible? Because every Vastu has some kind of a satta. They have a satta where we say that asti. Yes, we say that it is there. This object is there. Asti means it is, we understand that it has its own existence. So that existence is called the Sat Tattva. The second is the Bhana. Bhana means the knowledge that we say, we understand that this is the object, that knowledge, clarity of the knowledge, that this is a clip, or this is a remote, or this understanding, this clarity of the objects, bhati, it is the chitta swarupa of the object. And the third is the prayojana. Prayojana means priyata, means that there is some usefulness or some use of this object, and this gives us the ananda of this object, and that's why it is the ananda swarupa of this object. And that is how amongst all the vastus or all the objects of the world, there is satta, bhan, prayojana. It is asti, bhati, priya is behind all the objects, and this is the same form that Sat Chit and Ananda stays behind all the objects of this universe. Ganachanna drashtir ganachanna markam yatha nishprabham manyate chati mudaha tatha baddhavad bhati yo muda drashte Sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma. So it says, just like a fool, ati mudha, with a very heavily clouded vision, nishprabham manyate, understands, yatha, just as he understands that ganachanna drashti, ganachanna markam. Markam means sun. The sun is covered by the clouds, and that's why I cannot see the sun, or the sun is not seen. That is how we understand. The sun is not seen because it is covered by the clouds. Tatha baddhavad bhati ya mudha drashti. A man whose sight is covered by the wheel of ignorance, mudha drashti. He thinks that I am baddhavad, I am tied up, I am under bondage. That is how he feels. Sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma. But I am that Atman which is the eternal light of the knowledge. So it is important to understand that many times this is our common experience, that we see that a small cloud comes in the front of the sun and we feel that the sun is hidden, or the cloud is hiding the sun. But we should think more. The cloud is such a small cloud, the sun is huge, so massive, it is so powerful. Can really cloud hide the sun? Or it is that the cloud is just hiding my sense of my vision, so that I am not able to perceive the sun, which is already there behind the clouds. So that is the question we need to ask, and that is how we can understand that how ignorance hides our real self, does not allow us to see what is the real perception or the reality that our Vedanta or our scriptures talk about. And that is because of this wheel or this cloud of ignorance that is there in our mind, which hides our mind and does not allow us to see that Atma Tattva, that sun that is always there shining. Upadhau yatha vedata sanmaninam tatha bhedata buddhi bhedeshu tepi yatha chandrikanam jale chanchalatvam tatha chanchalatvam tavapiha Vishnu. This is the last sloka of Hastamalaka. He says, just like differences are seen in the crystals or the beads, bhedata sanmaninam, mani, all the money, all the beads, as you see the bhed, and these bhed are because of the upadhi. Upadhi means nama, rupa, and all the different upadhis, because of the differences in the forms of the beads, you can see the differences. Tatha bhedata buddhi bhedeshu tepi. Similarly, differences in the intellect create differences identified in the Atman. It is all aropit, it is misidentified or falsely identified into Atma, that there are differences in the Atma, but actually These differences are because of the differences in the intellect of each different individual. Yatha chandrikanam jale chanchalatvam. As just as the changing water of the moon is seen in the moving water, changing appearance of the moon is seen, because when the water keeps moving, the moon reflection will also keep moving. Tatha chantalatvam tavapiha visho. Similarly, the unsteadiness seen in the beings is due to the upadhi. It is not due to the Bimbha Bhuta Chaitanya, but it is due to the Antakaran Upadhi. Sanitya Upalabdhi Swarupa Ham Atma, and that Atman, which is the eternal light of knowledge, and that is the end of this Hastamalaka Shotra. You can see that there are many beads which have different forms and shapes. Our mind works in such a way that our focus goes on the beads. We will see the beads, but we will never see what binds all these beads together to create a beautiful creation out of this. What is the tattva? What is the thread behind which all these are woven into one necklace or one? All these beads are very nicely put up. So that is something behind all the Nama Rupa. We have to see this tattva even in our day-to-day world, day-to-day life. That is a kind of sadhana which requires a lot of viveka. It requires vairagya, because we have to come out from the Nama Rupa, to which we are all so much attached. We are always attached to the Nama Rupa, but from there we have to come back with vairagya, and then we have to try to see the adhisthana, the thread, that Atma Tattva, that one which binds everything. All the, you could see all the planets, the Surya, Chandra, everything, all the universe, all the galaxies creating one necklace. Out of these existence, the tattva which creates and holds everything in place and determines that which planet moves at what speed and how the entire galaxy keeps moving. So this is the order of the universe, which is held by one order, and that order is nothing but this Brahma Tattva or the Chaitanya. And only with Vairagya, Abhyasa and Sadhana we can understand this Ajnana Nivrutti, which is the main cause, the wheel of ignorance, Ganachanna Drashti, Ganachanna Markam, the wheel of ignorance we have to remove, we have to get rid of, and with this we will attain, we will understand Atma Jnana, we will be able to see that clearly, that oneness that binds everything together, and this Jnana itself is the cause for moksha or mukti from this Janma, Marana, Chakra, Sansara. So that is the end of Hastamalaka Charya Rachitam, Hastamalaka Samvada Stotram, Sampurnam, Shri Hastamalaka Charya Rachitam, Hastamalaka Stotra is complete. So we end this with the Guru Pratna, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parak Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते